I just posted the Rune chart because it's crazy to see. Like, I wanted to get your technical opinion on that too. But Rune has really bottomed out at like this $1, to 130 range. And I know we've been talking about dollar cost averaging, and Rune is something I've been dollar cost averaging into. Obviously, I still have a long-term belief in THORChain, but right now I think we have a risk in the THORChain ecosystem that we've never had before, which is, will THORChain still be around 10 years from now? And like I said, you got to look at these things, especially, my strategy is, am I willing to hold this for 10 years? And one question I've been asking myself lately about Rune, which is one of the biggest holdings I have, is will I be holding this for 10 years? Because, the protocol's had a lot of issues, and we don't need to get into everything, but, the protocol's had some issues, and now I'm, not now, but over the past, say, 2-3 months, I've been questioning, how will THORChain do? Will it survive? Obviously, I think it will survive. That's why I haven't sold any Rune, but I've been, accumulating more. So that's my belief in it. But the price action obviously has been very, dramatically not good. Really, we came down from $7 and just crashed very hard. It was basically a death spiral without the death. It didn't die in the end, at least not yet. Hopefully it doesn't die. It's been tough, but THORChain, in terms of the Nine Realms team and the developments going on behind the scenes, that stuff has not stopped. So, I've been paying very close attention, to the GitHub and the X activity and the activity of the developers, and if they've been delivering on the roadmap. And those are the things that I tend to like to focus on outside of price action. And then, as I just continue to reconvict myself every day that it's not going to disappear, I keep dollar cost averaging. But yeah, this chart, obviously, like in hindsight, this is either going to be a genius moment for getting into Rune, or it's going to be, how did I not see that it was dying? So what's your opinion, Mitch?
I mean, I got to the point where, I just have my long-term spot bag that I've had for years now. And, my goal, I'm not even lie, like I had a price point, I was selling it, and it wasn't even to break the all-time high. Like it didn't even need to get back to the all-time highs. Like and it got so close too. I was basically aiming for like 12.75, like $13. And if it got back up there again, I was probably actually going to cash out, just because, my goal is to kind of whittle down the number of coins I have, and then, actually, book some gains. And, obviously, whatever. We saw it cascade lower with all the drama with the lending protocol and whatnot. Like you said, it's going to be a long-term turnaround. So I'm at the point where I stopped looking at it like a month ago, because in my opinion, it's going to take years, I think, to recover from, that sell-off and all the issues. So, like you said, will it be around? Will it survive? If it does, it doesn't change the fact that it's still going to take years, I think, for the coin to really rally. I mean, I'd be surprised if we saw it back up at, $7-8 in the near future. But again, anything can happen. But yeah, my opinion is, at the price point it's at now, what do you have to lose? Like, I know you have much more size than I do, but like I look at the dollar value of it for me, and I'm like, there's no point. Like, it'd be dumb to sell here. Like it makes more sense for me to just hold on to it and see if it does, have a big turnaround story, and the coin ends up rallying, and then, at that point, maybe I cash out. But I mean, the price it's at right now is definitely like a big support area. I mean, it's been down there before, obviously, as far down as 80 cents, but this whole dollar to like $1.50 area is definitely has a lot of price history, and it seems like it's found a floor here. But
yeah, and it's found a floor. I think an indicator of that is that the rest of the market kept going down, but Rune didn't. Like it kind of went down to like that dollar mark, bounced up a little bit, and then when the rest of the market started going down, it just wouldn't go down anymore, which to me was an indicator of the bottom. I don't know if that is an indicator to you at all.
I mean, it's always, relative strength, so to speak. But I'm looking at some of the comments in here, and for anyone that doesn't have any Rune yet, I mean, yeah, like your risk reward profile right now, it's totally worth it. I mean, you're risking a buck, like even if it's go to zero, you're risking a $1.20 to potentially make, 4, 5, 6, 7x your money. Hell, potentially almost 20x if it ever gets, back to all-time highs. So just from a sheer risk reward ratio for someone that's not in, doesn't own any Rune, is interested in owning it, I think now makes sense. Just because, your upside is so much bigger than your downside. And that's one big thing, like all the famous investors are known for, like they don't invest in anything that doesn't have at least like 4-to-1, reward to risk. So on this, you're getting offered that at a minimum, so that's also another way to look at it, for people that aren't in. And I guess I could do the same thing with fresh capital. I know, like you said, you've been dollar cost averaging. So I'm good. I have finite capital, and it's targeted for Bitcoin and I guess still real estate to an extent. So, but I'm just bag. I'm bag holding all my alts. I'm just waiting for the next alt market. But yeah, as far as Rune goes, like you said, will it survive? And if it does, what will the price look like? I mean, if it survives, I assume at some point, there'll be some price recovery. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those, like you said, asymmetric bets where, like, if it survives, you're going to do really well. Obviously, if it
That's
doesn't,
the word I was looking for.
your
Yes.
Yeah, what your downside is. It goes from $1 to zero. So I guess we'll just see. I've seen Rune go through moments like this before. Obviously, there was, like, during the multi-chain chaos net, there was the hack of the protocol. There were actually, I think, 2 or 3 hacks in a row. And most people thought Rune was going to die. And I didn't, and I kept buying, and turned out to be one of the best investments I ever made, in my career. I see a similar moment happening right now where, like I said, I'm paying very close attention. I'm dollar cost averaging, and I'm not unwilling to change my mind. So, if I see something that changes my mind about the future of THORChain, then I'm not afraid to back off. I still think that asymmetric upside exists to the degree that I probably wouldn't sell what I have now. I probably would just let it ride, but I would stop buying more. So it just, we'll see what happens. But I think the asymmetric upside is there, as it always kind of has been. If the protocol succeeds, it's just going to be worth dramatically more than it is now. Ahmad Manga said that your strategy with Rune is my strategy with Leo. The question is, do you believe in them to the same degree I believe in you? I'm not sure how much you believe in me. I believe in THORChain very heavily, though. And like I said, I'm pretty intimately familiar with a lot of people that work within the THORChain ecosystem. The community itself and what's going on behind the scenes in terms of development. So I'm very confident in THORChain and Rune. I also Cacao chart there because I think Cacao is an insanely good bet right now.
I know
the market cap is $18 million, and the protocol. I think I saw the protocol has 15 million in TVL. I got to double check that. But $15 million in TVL, the protocol. The Cacao token is only worth $18 million, and the trading volume is dramatically more than that. So, and by the way, the team continues to ship new tech constantly.
Maybe I'll jump on a Leo Dex today and flip some Hive into Cacao.
Yeah, I've actually updated my strategy a little bit. I still own primarily Rune, but I have started to make Cacao a part of the strategy. I do see them as being relatively tied to each other in terms of at least short-term price action, because the deepest pool for Cacao is the Cacao Rune pool. And I think most people just generally think of Maya's success as contingent on THORChain's success, which is not true. But I think that exists in the market and you can't ignore it. So at least in the short term, I think they're pretty closely tied. But I think in the long term, it's definitely possible Cacao outperforms just because it's so small. Like Rune at the current price is a $400 million market cap, and Cacao is $18 million. So
yeah, no, that's exactly why I was considering getting some exposure to it. And that's funny because that's the same reason like Leo against Hive. Like yesterday, the day before, I swapped a chunk of Hive into Leo because I was just looking and I'm like, all right, well, what's more likely to Forex in price? And it's like, all right, well, that would have to put Hive up at $1, and that would only put Leo at like 4.5, 5 cents. I'm like, well, I mean, Leo's been at 4.5, 5 cents 8 million times. When's the last time that Hive was at $1? So I decided to flip some more Hive into Leo over the weekend, and I'll probably end up doing some more because Hive, Leo at under 2 cents versus Hive at 25, 30 cents. Again, it's just that ratio. Which one's going to potentially give me a better return in the near term? And I just see it way easier for Leo to 3x even than for Hive. Hive would have to go near its all-time highs, or I'm sorry, near its recent highs and then some. Where, like I said, Leo not even be anywhere near high prices. So I think path of least resistance, right?